You already had a short position, a short call on the euro ahead of the geopolitical tensions we've seen in Europe around the politics in Italy. How much of that does play into that positioning around the euro, and how much more downside do you think the single currency has from here?
Yes, indeed. We turned US dollar bullish on the 15th of March, and equivalent we thought that the euro would have a bigger fall to see. But what really suggested us to increase our confidence in this euro decline was not what has happened recently in Italy. What we thought was a very interesting event was the IMF in Washington. And what we did see there is that the new German finance minister Olaf Scholz came out as a finance minister who looked in similar terms like Wolfgang Schäuble did. And the market was before that anticipating that the German position would soften, and apparently at the IMF it became clear that it was not softening. So we did see immediately after the IMF the euro sliding. At the IMF we were trading 123. A week later we were already at 121. And I think that this Italian situation, populism in the peripheral of Europe, is an issue, especially in Italy, with those two populist parties gaining a lot of electoral support as well when you look at latest survey data. So the question then here is, what type of policy reaction do you see on the basis of that? Is this policy reaction in Italy itself, or is it maybe somewhere else? And I think that is going to be in the core countries, because populism in the peripheral countries, I think, has a lot to do with the hardships these countries have experienced over the past few years in respect of unemployment, inequality, and that has a lot to do with the productivity achievements in the Eurozone, which had been introduced under German advice. So the question here is much more, do we see a change in the core European position in respect of the European political reform?
And your view is that given the appointment of the new finance minister who's hawkish on these issues, that's less likely?
That slowed it down, but then the question is that appropriate? Is that actually long-lasting? Is it actually a policy solution which is likely or possible to happen? And I think what we need to have in Europe, we should not forget that the currency union does need to develop a political union. You cannot have a currency union without a political union. We have no historic example of that. When you look at the Latin Union, the Latin currency union, it collapsed because of the failure to develop political institutions. When you look at the currency union established in the northern part of Germany in 1834, that established itself into a political union, that established the mark, and that was a successful currency and a successful process. So what we in Europe have to ask ourselves, where do we stand on this prospect of political unions, the development of providing us with institutions in the Eurozone? And I believe that the result on this, on populism, must lead into that direction.
And the stronger data out of Germany that we saw yesterday around CPI, around the jobless rate, that doesn't make you reassess that view, given the geopolitics, given that disconnect that you're pointing?
You know, you're saying reassessing that view. We had a 115 target, and we have reached that 115 target. So what we are now seeing is the data is certainly acting in support. But then the question then is this really like a data-driven market, or is it actually a market which is driven by the worry you have in Europe's peripheral? And I think the market is currently deeply worried about Europe's peripheral, and so you need to watch the news on that side, and then you get a handle on the euro. But I stay confident that the US dollar is peaking at this point, right?
You think it's in a secular bear market?
That is the point we are making. So we said in March this is a correction within the secular bear market, yeah, and we think that that is done. We have a scoreboard model developed that is very successful. Our clients love it. We update that on a daily basis, and that actually shows you that it is turning around. There's nothing to gain on a dollar long position.